Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're talking about 10 games to play at Christmas. And there's probably different ways you could take this. I think on the Dice Tower recently they had a top three talking somewhat about this, and Chris took it as games that he wanted to play, or not, Christmas themed and whatnot, but I think these are more, towards the Christmas theme side, or at least a wintry vibe, I think, is most of what we've got
Yes,
here.
my criteria was, does it have snow? And that's all.
Yeah, that's pretty much the main thing, because I don't know that there's all that many Christmas games. And yeah, there's some we haven't played. We haven't played Santa's Workshop.
No.
So I think that one would probably be one that could be on this list if we had that one. We do not. So that one, spoiler, will not be on the list. But I could see that being on a lot of people's lists that own it, probably. But let us know in the comments below which games would make your list of Christmas games, whether it be Christmas themed or I guess games you're hoping to play this
Yeah, if we were
Christmas.
if we were going for just like what would be a good game for Christmas for the whole family, it would be probably a lot of party games like Just One or something like that, that are a lot more open to large groups and any kinds of gamers. But we're going on theme. And we start off with a couple honorable mentions, and it is funny that you brought up Santa's Workshop because that was the obvious one I had to put on an honorable mention because it
Yes,
can't
he
be on
made
our
this
list
without my knowledge.
because we have not played it. We do not own it, but we've had our eye on it, and I just like that's probably the best one of any of these games we're going to mention, theme-wise, fitting Christmas. So I just thought we had to mention it there to go check it out if you're interested. And the Exit the Game is a series of games that are like little escape rooms. So a bunch of puzzles in a box that you work through as a group. And they actually have a few of these advent calendar boxes, which I am currently playing through one as we work our way to Christmas. And I find it a lot of fun to have one little puzzle each day. Obviously, I don't know if I'd recommend playing through the whole thing on Christmas Day, so this is just something maybe for next Christmas to play through in the lead up.
There you go.
But we move on to actual entries on the list. Number
Those are
10,
two good shouts.
yes, in no particular order. Oh boy. The game that hurts your fingers the most on this list, and that is IceCool. As you can see, very winter themey. It's penguins, it's ice, it's cold, and school, which does not really fit for Christmas. But in this one, it is a flicking game. So each of you controls a penguin, and you build this little 3D structure pretty much out of the box. The box is kind of like a Russian doll. It has a bunch of pieces within it, and you pin them together with these fishes, and it creates a school with these little doorways that you can see. And your goal is to, if you're a student, to try to flick your penguin through the doorways that have your colored fish pinned on top of them in order to collect your fish. I think you have three of them out there at the start of a round. And one player is actually going to be the hall monitor, and they are going to be flicking and trying to take your hall pass, take all three other players' hall passes. So they'll be trying to hit your penguin with their penguin. And this one, I think this one is one that anyone can play at any age and have a lot of fun. Just trying to, sometimes you just get nice simple shots like, oh, I'll just hit it straight through here. Sometimes you even mess those ones up. And sometimes you luck into going through two doors, getting two of your fish, and ending up exactly where you want to be. A lot of crazy moments.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, trying to hop over walls sometimes. But yeah, like you said, I think this one would fit under that kind of. You could probably play this one with a family at Christmas if you wanted to, because it's pretty simple. But also know that it's probably going to hurt your finger because
Yes,
they actually have quite a bit of weight to them,
yes, they do.
surprisingly. On
They're
the
good
bottom, that it kind of
components.
wobbles like a bobblehead almost makes me think of.
Yes, yes.
Or is there some other thing that does that? I don't know.
Um, it's kind of like a bobblehead. I feel like there is something else, but I cannot think of it.
a top, maybe. I don't know. Not quite like that either, but something along those lines.
Yes. And there are sequels to this. There's other games in the series with these penguins. I don't know anything about those, but I know this one. Next up, we have still a pretty Christmas themed game. Still a pretty solid entry here. I have not played this one, but you have, and I actually know the person who created this game, Phil Walker Harding. He creates a lot of approachable filler games. We call him Filler Walker Harding because he creates these nice short games that are easy to get into. Is this the case with this one, Zach?
Yes, and you're kind of this one's one where you're kind of building some patterns a little bit to fulfill or to get the different candy types or frosting types, gingerbread house types, whatever it is exactly, to kind of fulfill these contracts and get these fairy tale creatures. You're trying to. I think you're playing the witch who gets her house eaten, and you're trying to put an end to some of these or make them disappear for good. So whatever that means. So it's not technically, yeah. You could, I don't know. When I got this, I was hoping it'd be kind of a Christmas game, but I would say it's probably more of, it is more of the fairy tale gingerbread house
Yeah.
versus the gingerbread house that you're making maybe during Christmas. But I think it falls underneath there. And yeah, it's a filler game. You can play through it pretty quickly. You're just kind of getting these kind of double tiles and putting them out on your little board and creating layering up. Um, Making different patterns and stuff that you need to. So yeah, it's pretty fun filler Walker Harding game,
Yeah, nice.
but
I
may not give
actually,
you the Christmas vibes. Maybe
that's true.
you
That's
got to
true.
kind of add that yourself.
Yes, if you want gingerbread building house game, I feel like just building a gingerbread house would be a game enough. I have not actually done that, I don't think, but you
This
have.
is much easier.
This is a little easier, and you don't have it sitting out for months and feel bad about having to throw it out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Next up, oh boy, we have Meadow, which this one. You probably wouldn't make this list if it weren't for one thing in the game, and what is that?
Yes. So if you own Meadow, there are envelopes in this for completing certain tasks or things. I think like there's like oh go to a national park or something. Things along those lines. First day of spring or something. Open this up. And I believe there is one that's if you play this game on Christmas or Christmas Eve, I think you get to unlock this envelope, which get all these envelopes. I believe I haven't. I don't know that I've actually opened any of them mine yet, but they allow you to get additional cards that you add into the game. So there is one specifically for playing it on Christmas. So that's why this one makes that list. There are think there's some cards that might be kind of have a snowy feel to them. So there's a little bit there, but otherwise isn't quite Christmassy either. But there might be a little snow in there. A little
Yeah,
snow for it, but yeah, overall maybe not the Christmassy game, but yeah, I think this one still fits pretty well. 'Cause I mean, you go see some nice animals on Christmas
yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Uh,
Maybe see a nice squirrel out in the yard burying a nut or something in the snow. I don't know. But yeah, this one probably so far has the most reason to play on Christmas for getting that new envelope to open, which I mean, opening something on Christmas, that's pretty fun. Will you be doing it this year?
I don't know. We will have to see. We'll have to find out. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I probably should now that this is a good reminder to do that. But
Yes,
I will probably forget come Christmas unless I
probably.
put it out on the table. Then I will remember. I think, or else I'll wonder why did I take this out.
Oh boy. Next up, we have another one that's kind of similar to that, where face value probably doesn't fit. Murano, and I think this is the complete edition, kind of printed at the bottom there, that we have includes a Christmas tree promo, which just adds a little thing that you can do in the game to put jewels to decorate this Christmas tree. Otherwise, it's a really good game. We really like it. We think it's a very underrated game. It's from Inca and Marcus Brand, who actually did that Advent calendar game that we mentioned. They wildly different games, but they do a lot of really great games, and this is one of them where you're taking actions printed along the edge of this board by moving these boats, and you can't move through other boats, so you kind of really got to manage where those gaps are and where you can move. And you build out these islands in a really cool way and score points in various different ways based on what's there.
Yes, and you are typically, yeah, fighting for once you put pawns there, you have scoring condition cards, and for each pawn you have put out, you can score one of those cards, and yeah, usually depends on what the island looks like at the end of the game. So sometimes you're fighting for wanting different things on the island, but you may not necessarily know that, so you're not necessarily messing over another player on purpose. That's one of the things I really like about it is, I mean, I think, yeah, if you played it a bunch of times and knew all the possible scoring cards, then sure, you could maybe figure out, like, oh, they're trying to score that one. I'm going to screw them over. Uh, but I think for this, most of the time, I wouldn't think you're doing it. At least our group doesn't. Maybe if you knew the game and were very competitive, you might. But it is a solid, really solid game. Underrated.
Yes,
We
for
actually did this game too, which just recently gotten played. Sausage Sizzle. This one could be a very
making me hungry.
family game for Christmas if you need one.
Yeah, stocking stuffer. Next up, oh boy, here we go. It's getting cold in the endless winter. Paleoamericans. Which I go back and forth of which I say. I either say endless winter or I say Paleoamericans, and it's probably about 50-50 for me. What do you call this game?
I probably do Endless Winter, but I do sometimes just think Paleo Americans for some reason. But yeah, usually not together. But I think I usually end on Endless Winter.
Yeah, yeah, because then I usually want to shorten it to Paleo, and then there is already a game named Paleo, so then it gets confusing. But yeah, Endless Winter, this is probably the heaviest game that we have, so the most complicated game that we have so far. But it's not too bad. I enjoy it. I don't like overly complicated games, and
Mhm.
I like this one. It has a lot of really cool artwork by the Miko, one of the best artists in the business. I think he does really well with this winter theme that he was handed here. I love it. I love the way it looks, and all these awesome components in here as well. I don't remember much about gameplay. You would know a little more about that than me.
Well, we both played the last time we played this was probably together, so it has been a little bit since we've played this. But yeah, I do also enjoy his artwork in this one because it's a little bit different. It's a little bit similar, but it's like, if you look at kind of the Garfield games he's done artwork for, some of it kind of looks a little similar, but adding that winter vibe, I don't know, it does he changed it up a little bit, and I really like the look of it. And yeah, I remember you have these different cards that you're using to trigger different actions on different spaces of the board, and trying to get all those tokens off your board and put them into different places and kind of score them. I think essentially, and you're going out on the map itself, I believe, and placing out like tents and stuff. Uh, I remember, yeah, liking it. It just this is one that it's just one of those bigger games, and it's for some reason a little intimidating to get back to the table.
Yeah.
And it scares me living in Minnesota that we may live in an endless winter.
Yeah,
So
it just brings back bad memories of those endless winters that you lived through as a child.
exactly, it's still going on currently.
Yeah.
As of filming this, it is actually winter.
Yeah.
I think we just got 5 inches of snow the other day, so
Oh boy.
uh, it's the start. It's the beginning.
Not
Winter is
good.
coming. It has come.
Oh boy. Anyway, next up is another winter themed game, I believe. A cold one. Yes, Merchants of the Dark Road. And this is one of the other greatest artists in the business, Andrew Bosley, yes. Bosley. I always mix it up uh, with the men's, what is it, gray hair, whatever, removal, whatever the heck it is. Bosley, I think that is. But Andrew Bosley, one of the best artists out there. And I love this cover. I love all the artwork in the game. I think his artwork is even better fitted with the snow theme than the Miko, because I love his stuff otherwise, but I think this just brings it up to another level. He does a couple other games with that. He might have done Santa's Workshop, which was
I
the
was
other.
gonna say, I think he did
Uh,
Santa's Workshop.
yeah, the honorable mention at the start. He did that one as well. He has another snow themed game that's coming out soon, and I think he's just really fitting for this. And I love that it's set at nighttime too. And
Mhm.
it's not just bright white, it's a little darker. You get the glow of the lanterns throughout the town, and just like snowy streets. I just really love the look of this one, the atmosphere that it brings.
Mhm. And like the gameplay of this one as well, where it's a bit of a is it considered a rondo? It has to be.
It's
Where action rondo, where you're usually utilizing a die to kind of move and then go to different areas in order to either gain like these people merchants that you're trying to take from certain area over to a different specific other area, kind of contract fulfillment style, and you usually need certain. I was gonna say weapons, but the good styles that you can gain at another area. So you're kind of getting a combination of both those, and then when you kind of go over to those other areas, other people have a chance to kind of join you and stuff. I like that quite a bit, and then yeah, just the in general going around and trying to pick the different things up. Um, yeah, this one. I think the only thing with this one is that the gameplays we have of it have been a little bit on the longer side. So I think this one's right up there with Endless Winter on kind of difficulty wise or how hard it is. I think they'd both be kind of up there together. Would you agree on
yeah,
that?
yeah, I would say so. I would say this is probably about equal with that one. I do have a little more experience, so I feel a little more comfortable with this one. But after the, if I had played this as much as the other one, I think I was at the same spot of how difficult it felt. But yeah, this one is, I think after the first play, because it was a little longer, I don't think everything was as intuitive as I was hoping. I think it wasn't as high in my mind. Like I didn't like it as much after that first play, but on the later plays, I did grow to really like this one quite a bit more. So I'm happy about that because I love the art and the theme.
Hmm.
Next up. Oh boy. This one is not in the night. This is a very bright cover. This is Nunatak. Nunatak. However you say it. Temple of Ice. And I have not played this one, but you have, and I love the cover of this one, so I had to put it on here, even if it's not Christmas themed or snow themed at all. Who knows? On the
Oh, it is very snow themed. It's ice for goodness sake. Temple of Ice. It's got to be snowy, icy theme. But yeah, I so played this one at a convention. Actually, ended up it was a play to win. We ended up winning this one, which I was very happy with because yeah, originally when I don't know for some reason I don't know who talked about it, but I feel like I got or watched some review where it was like mixed or something. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just more of a gimmick. But then we played. This was actually the first one we played in the play to win, and I was like, hmm. That's actually pretty good. And it's kind of just this game where you are, um, in a way, drafting these cards and doing some set collection, and they kind of all score in slightly different ways. And while you're doing that, you're obviously building up this temple of ice by placing out your little thing, your I don't know what you'd call them, like these upside down cups that support the next layer, and so on and so forth. And you're trying to win kind of majorities in the rows and columns, and you're trying to go on top of your own stuff to get kind of points and other things as well. And yeah, this one is much more on the approachable side, I would say. This one would fit for most of the family, I think. There's a few parts about it that might be a little bit much, but uh, I would put it on a similar thing as like a Stone Age.
Oh,
Probably a
yeah.
little easier than that, even.
Nice. Yeah, that has me pretty excited about it. I like and how that sounds. Would you say it's pretty like kind of abstract, kind of uh board building in that way?
It it didn't really feel like it. It didn't feel like too like crazy in the abstract way of like, I don't know. It didn't feel like you were trying to be sneaky.
Oh, okay.
If that's the kind of thing you were thinking of, like a Santorini type thing. It wasn't like that at all. But also note we played at two player, so it's a little bit different when you're doing two player versus more, because you are playing these fake cones out there, and they can kind of trigger those completions as well and stuff. And you're forced to do, I think it was one every three turns. So you do two of your own and one, and you could do whichever order you wanted. So I liked that. I like when games
Cool.
allow the players to actually do it, but it was always dissatisfying in the fact that usually you had to use that and burn the card. You couldn't end up keeping it, which those cards could get you a lot of points. So, in that way, it was a little unsatisfying, but
Yeah,
everything else was great.
nice. Looking forward to playing. Oh boy, Riverside. This is another one. I barely played any of these games. No Christmas spirit here. Get that off of there. But I was looking forward to this one. I really like the cover, and I think it's kind of a roll and write game. So you're rolling some dice and writing things on your sheet of paper that give you bonuses and points in different ways. And I really like the look of it. From what I'd heard, it looked like a fun game, kind of utilizing this river, moving the boat along it. But I have not played it, so take it away.
Yeah, so we actually played this one a couple weeks ago. I really love the cover of this one. There's another cover that I really love. I think that's the thing about some of these wintry games is it makes for amazing covers. It can be, and I think it's like this is like what I would love or imagine Minnesota to be, but it isn't.
Not where you are. Yes.
Yeah, at least not where we are.
Not-
Uh, but yeah, I like the look of winter that way, but unfortunately, our endless winter is does not quite look like that where we are. Anyway, but yeah, you're rolling these dice, and it's kind of like a Gons in a way, where or Gons or what other Pulsar, where you roll all these different dice, and the mid die in there kind of goes. You can see there's that card there, and you got some dice above it and below. Um, Wherever the middle is, those all go below the card, and then everything higher goes above it. And you can use any of the ones that are kind of that mid to lower for free without having to spend anything and be able to do activities. So along the river, there's activities that correlate to the different colors of dice. Um, and you will add those people to you can kind of see one of those sheets. You got different boats of those colors, so you'll add them to the boats, and then you'll do the activity and potentially score some points there. And otherwise, you can spend flame to be warm enough to be able to use the dice on the top. And then there's some other bonuses and stuff you can do to be able to potentially use those as well. But the cool thing with this is, so each of those different colored boats. You can potentially score up to three times, but each time you score it, you have to score more than your previous one, and it's a combination of a multiplier of the tickets sold and the amount on the event space. So I believe, I don't know, it's not really, I don't think it's close enough, but like you can see, I think the one looks like it's a reindeer event there, that first one, and it's got probably got a number on top of it, and you would multiply
Oh,
that by the tickets sold. So uh, kind of depends how, because you can kind of put those in different orders. Obviously, the ends have to be the same, and the other rounded end have to be the same.
mm,
But yeah, everyone's using the boat from the same spot, so you can potentially do the same thing as every other player if you wanted. Uh, but kind of once you start doing different things, because that boat will go all the way around and back. So the boat will not be taking those spaces down the middle there where it goes over to the other side. That's just allowing you to potentially take an activity that's happening on the other side.
oh, okay.
I think it's like you're potentially like rowing a little boat off to do that activity. You can be so far away from the boat, but it
Okay.
is a lot of fun. I probably did not describe it the greatest, but I
That
had a lot of
sounds,
fun with it. I had a lot of
I
fun
think
with it.
I'm getting it. That sounds really nice. I'd really like to play that one. Was anticipating it. Now I'm anticipating it even more. Completely forgot you even owned it till today.
Wow, wow, wow.
Next up, let's hope I played this one. Give you a break from explaining all these games. Oh boy. Well, none of us have played this specific game, but we have played games in the Ticket to Ride series. And this is a series where they go all over the world, different places, a bunch of different maps. I just chose one of the snowier ones for this slideshow, the Nordic countries. I don't know. I think it's got decent reviews. I forget if this has been re-implemented. I know there's another snowy one, and I saw some comment that said, "Oh, this isn't as good as Nordic countries." So I'm like, okay, I'll just put Nordic countries up here. Um, but I like the look of this one. I've always liked the look of this one. Just for the snowy feel. I love the snowy feel. And like you said, I wish Minnesota in the winter felt like all of these game covers show, but it doesn't. But Ticket to Ride is a classic. I'm guessing most people interested in this video have heard of Ticket to Ride, and if you haven't, it is a game that you should add to your collection in some form, whether it's the original game or one of these smaller games. And some might require a base game to play. Some of those maps that you might want might require a base game to play them. But the core system is collecting different colored cards in order to place sets of those colors that match these routes on the board. So here this blue route, you would need 5 blue cards to play 5 of your trains in those spots. So then you would own that route on the board, and you're doing that to claim points by building routes as well as connecting different locations on the map. So some might say, obviously that's not here, but you want to go from Alabama to Florida in the United States map or something like that. It's different cities or whatever, or states. And if you complete it, you get 15 points or something like that. Although that would be a very high scoring, very short route, Alabama to Florida. But
That
that's
might
not
be
one.
be
That's
a
not
pretty
one.
good one to get. Pretty good
Yeah.
one to get. But yeah, I believe this one comes with its own trains. I think
Yes, I
this is
believe
the way to get the purple trains if you want it,
the
but I think
purple
this one
one.
is also only 3 players. Uh,
Oh, yep,
I
yeah.
believe. So note that going in. The other ones play with a little bit more. I think all of them do. Could be wrong on that,
Yeah.
but this one in particular plays at 3 players and is the way to get the purple trains.
Yes, if you want them purple trains, which I always do, want purple, go get it. But yeah, Ticket to Ride Classic, can't recommend it more. And it's a game everyone can play. So get grandma out there, get her playing this game.
Exactly. You know colors, don't you, Grandma? That's all you need to know.
All you need to know. Next up, oh boy, I believe this is the last one, the most positive holiday theme game that we've got here. Dead of Winter. And I gotta say, this one gives me the most feeling of at least winter. Just
I
the
thought you were gonna
cold.
say of Christmas.
No,
I'm
not
like,
Christmas. When I
what?
think
Because it's got
Christmas,
Santa in it?
when I think Christmas, I think Dead of Winter. No. But when I think of Dead of Winter, I'm like, oh, nice cold night. And when it is snowy outside, I mean, it's not here in Florida, but when I was up in Minnesota and it'd be snowy and I'd just be in the mood to play Dead of Winter, even if I was the only one in the house. And I'm like, I really want to play some Dead of Winter. So I set it up one time and I'm like, okay, it takes more. It's cooperative. So I can play it as one player. I don't need 2 to 4 players. So I played it. I was controlling more than one character. The first freaking turn I go and my character gets killed. And I'm like, I did all this setup and lose immediately. But it's a story to tell at least. And this one I think is all about those stories. It is a Dead of Winter, a Crossroads game, which I guess is an early kind of implementation of the Crossroads system that is used digitally with kind of narration and storytelling that way from games like Forgotten Waters and Freelancers from the same company. But I think this one does a really good job of giving you that feel of running a colony in a zombie apocalypse, having to go out and try to gather supplies and run into survivors, have to decide what to do with them and whether to send them off or invite them into your group, having different objectives to keep the camp running. You need enough food to keep going. And at higher player counts, if you want, you can introduce a possible traitor into the midst where they'll have their own motives and maybe try to betray the camp and sabotage. We have not played that way. I just like playing the try to survive scenario.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think we've talked about, and I think we agreed. I could be wrong, but I would love if they went back and revisited this using more of the kind of app-driven
Mm,
system that they've used for some of those newer ones that they've done. I would love that because, yeah, just this one. I don't know the funness. I think it is already a solid game, but I think it could add just another level if you had kind of that voice narration and stuff that they use for the other ones. Because I think that's what really gets me into those ones even more than this one, which you still have those kind of stories and stuff, but it's kind of on cards and stuff where, oh, if they have this character and they do this, it triggers this card or something
yeah.
type thing versus just kind of going from thing to thing. I think they could definitely go back and redo it. I don't know how popular zombies are now
Yeah.
as they were when they came out with this game, so maybe it wouldn't be a great thing to go back and do. But yeah, this one definitely gives the chilling feel of winter
Yes.
for sure if that's what you're looking for. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun one
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they go back. I don't want it to just be like copy paste Forgotten Waters. I want it to feel like there's a little more board presence like this does have, but just clean it up a little bit with that app and because I think this one does get me the most excited of the three.
Mhm.
Still, just based on theme, I think I'm just a little more geared towards that zombie apocalypse. Being a big Walking Dead fan, I like Pirates of the Caribbean, so I mean, I like the wacky pirate stuff, but just not quite as what I want as this.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's as Christmas as it gets, dead of winter.
It's got the drunk Santa Claus in it, so
It
it
does.
is pretty Christmassy.
And the goat, what was his name? Rod Miller? Was that his name?
Yep.
The guy sitting in the lawn chair with a beer, our favorite character.
Getting stuff done. Just seemed like whenever we got him into a game, he would immediately die.
The,
Couldn't keep the man alive.
the legend.
But yeah, that's that. Those are all of our picks for games to play at Christmas to give you those feels. And as we said, some of them may be a little loose on that, but yeah, let us know in the comments below what your top ones are if you like our choices for any of these. Otherwise, you can go back and check out. We did one of these also for Thanksgiving and Halloween, so you can go look at those ones so that you'll be prepared for next year for Halloween and Thanksgiving. You got plenty of time. Just like that Advent calendar, now you're going to have to prepare in advance so you won't have to do them all on Christmas.
Yes.
But yeah, we'd love to hear if you guys would like us to do any of these for any other holidays. I think these are kind of the ones we had planned, but we would love to do more if anyone has any suggestions.
Yes.
So yeah, that is it. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. As of filming this, we are pretty close to 1,000, so we're right on the edge. We'd love if you could bump us over. But otherwise, we hope to see you on other videos. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.